are now listening to Tuff Tiger Talk. Flash Report.
All set? All right, let's fire away. I know you got tons of questions, so we'll do that. We won the game. That was a good thing. Winning games is a good thing.
Coach, despite the uneven performance on offense, how big was that last drive to salt away the game?
Yeah, I mean, look, we all watched the game. I was pleased with some things that we did that we hadn't been doing. We ran the ball with much more effectiveness, right? We got the ball to Trades Green. I was pleased about that. But certainly, you can't get down on the 1 yard line 3 times and come up with 3 points. And I think we all know that. But what I loved was our compete. I loved the way our guys competed for 4 quarters. Our fans stayed in there with us. Look, it is what it is. Find a way to win. And tonight, we found a way to win, even though we had some mistakes out there that could at some time be catastrophic, and we're going to have to eliminate them. But the bottom line is I love the way the kids competed today.
Just continuing competition. Talk about, I guess, just the defense being able to, I guess, stay with Lenore Sellers for a majority of the party. Got loose a couple of times. What is that pretty much what you expected?
Yeah, we needed to, and I think I said this maybe on Thursday's press conference, when we get to him, we got to make sure he feels us. And, obviously he's an extraordinary athlete, and we missed a lot of tackles where if we run our feet and do the things we're supposed to do, we probably tackle more. But he felt this today. He felt our football team. He felt our defense. And we made it tough for him. We made it a physical game where he was clearly, we got after him. And he did some really good things as well. But at the end of the day, we kept him to 10 points. And I think that's what we were hoping for.
Nussmeier's aggression in this game didn't rip the ball down the field like he didn't hesitate, like he wasn't thinking that much, just really playing. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, I thought he was a lot more aggressive. I thought, he had that kind of demeanor that you're looking for in your quarterback. We want to clean up some things, obviously, the mishandled snaps, and we can't turn the ball over down there. But look, he's competing his tail off for us, and so we're not perfect. We're a work in progress. We'll have to be better next week. But again, I kind of look at it as we know where our issues are. They're not hidden. Like, we got to clean up we can't give up a 75-yard run, right? We've got to fit that the right way. We've got to be in better position, obviously, on some of the things that we did in terms of the running game. But bottom line is, against an SEC opponent, we held them to 10 points, and really, except for our own mistakes, we controlled the flow of the game.
Yeah, just to kind of build on that a little bit. First quarter there, you guys are driving, looking like you're going to go up 10-0, and then they get the fumble and the big long run, but you follow it up with the touchdown drive to really kind of take control back.
Yeah.
What did you think about that sequence and how your guys were able to respond to that?
I think that's exactly what I was talking about. I didn't think that there was any time where, even though we made mistakes, you can begin to question yourself and your confidence, but they kept playing. And I told them that. I said, listen, we got plenty of time to go over the things that we got to correct on Monday. Everybody's going to remind you about them anyway. So I'm not going to do that right now. All I'm going to comment on is I love the way you competed. You kept playing regardless of what happened. And there were some things that were catastrophic, if you will. Fumbling on the goal line, giving up a 75-yard run. Those are catastrophic mistakes, but they overcame them and they kept playing. That's a great thing. I'm going to build off of that, and we're going to clean up the other things.
Coach, the words building off of, you guys obviously had the turnovers, but the way your offense was able to move the ball, how much of that has been a good sign for getting this offense going in the right direction?
It's a better sign. There's no doubt. Again, I think if we were much more efficient in the red zone, certainly if we took care of the football, there were some things that we just have to clean up they're very fixable. And if we fix those things, this offense can play to the level of its defense, and that's what we need to get to. If we can get both groups playing to that same level consistently, we had some really good moments there offensively, but not consistent enough, and that's what we'll go back to work on.
Was there a point in the game, I don't know what your expectations were coming in.
Winning.
But was there a point when you said, okay, this is going to be ugly, let's just get out of it with a win? Was there a point in the game?
Well, it was pretty clear that we made some mistakes. What I was most what was most important for me was to keep the guys up on the sideline positive. You know, whether we didn't hook up on a play down the field, or we put the ball on the ground, or threw a pick, it was, look, put that behind you, get to the next play. And so really was a lot of management on the sideline, so we didn't have guys, you know, feeling sorry for themselves. And they didn't. That's why I'm pretty excited, right? That they just kept fighting and kept playing, and we'll work hard on cleaning up those errors.
And the back coach, a big addition with Trey'Dez Green, a healthy Trey'Dez
Yes.
Green. What did you see from him?
He's pretty good at football. I don't know about the basketball thing. I'll let Matt decide that, but clearly he's a mismatch, right? You know, you can throw fade balls to him. He can catch the ball on quick game. He's just he's a unique talent, and we need to continue to feature him in our offense. He's got to be part of it.
Right, this the commitment to the run game. You guys average 5.5 per touch, I guess, and just able to break a couple of big ones. How big is Caden being in that mix? Kind of make that.
Yeah, I think he was helpful. Obviously, Juwan had the big run, you know, down the sideline. I just think that we were a little bit more deliberate in some of the plays. We were getting a wide 9 to the field with 6, Stewart, who's an elite pass rusher, who made it difficult, but it opened up some running lanes for us. So we were able to take advantage of those things. You know, if there was anything that we could do differently, it would just be cleaner with our short yardage run game.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned the fight of this team. Garrett went down right before the second half.
Yes.
For him to come back after Cooley's interception.
Yep.
What do you say about him fighting through the rest of the game?
Yeah, again, you guys are answering, you know, the same things that I was answering in my own mind. Is like, look, you know, we could feel sorry for ourselves. You know, we got guys banged up. We lost two defensive ends in the game. You know, Butler was out, and who else was out? Oh no, it was Gooden. We were down some guys, and they just kept battling. That's what I'm proud of those guys, and they just kept fighting and came out with a victory.
On the goal line interception, is that just an RPO that Garrett decides to keep and just wasn't the right decision there? Like, could you sort of explain that play a little bit?
It's an RPO, and he's responsible for the safety who picked it off. Does that answer it? Without laying any blame, it's a bad call.
You know, I guess with Nuss, is there anything that you'd like to see him, you know, improve upon?
Yeah, I want him to take care of our short yardage running game. We had 2 fumble snaps out of direct snap. We've got to be able to be clean there. I don't want to take a timeout in that situation when, you know, we have a particular player. He knows what they are, and he's going to work at them. And now that we've got him over the hump in terms of throwing the football, you know, we'll clean up some of the little things that are required. We got away with some of those things today. We're not going to get away with them later. And he knows that, and he'll be better because of it. I'm sorry. Yeah, we had troubles with both snaps on the goal line. Yeah.
Halfway through the season, you only lost 1 game. Are you excited about the potential of the team if the offense cleans up these handful of mistakes and starts scoring points, with the potential of the team?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we saw the bits and pieces that we were looking for. Now we got to put it together. It's not good enough to say, hey, we've arrived. We certainly have not. And we've got to do some things better on defense as well. You know, some coverage things, some fits. But Norris Sellers is a difficult guy to corral. But we have to be cleaner in the scoring zone. You know, as I mentioned, Jacques, 3 times inside the 5 to come up with 3, those things are catastrophic. So we got to clean those up. We clean those up, we're moving in the right direction.
You mentioned a couple of the guys who went out. Is there any update on Jamari or Bernard?
No, they were sent for imaging, so we'll have a better feel for those guys probably Monday.
From your point of view, could you noticeably tell Garrett's arm was better, sharper,
Yeah.
zip?
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, and we knew that going in to the game because of we track the football with a GPS, and his numbers were up, so we felt really good about that. Look, we're going to continue. He's going to get better. You know, he's healthy now and feeling good. You know, he's got a little bit of an ankle. We'll see how that goes, but I think the better days are ahead for him.
Hey, what does it say about your conditioning? I mean, y'all chased that guy all night long, and still the fourth quarter, it didn't look like you were worn out.
No, I mean, he's a difficult player to play against, and that's why he was regarded as the top quarterback in the country by many, and you can see why. But I'm proud of the way our guys attacked him. You know, we made him feel us today. He will leave here feeling the game against LSU.
Coach, you talked about the ankle injury, so obviously the mobility got a little bit hampered. But before that, he was really decisive running the ball as well. How much did that really open up the offense?
Yeah, it did. I mean, obviously, you know, running for a first down, being, you know, I think in a mindset that he was going to do whatever was necessary for us to continue to move the chain. So it was great to see that, and he knows that he's got to continue to do that.
Brian, from a vision perspective, do you think from your running back group, this was the best night they've had this season in terms of seeing the holes and hitting them?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought we were pretty disciplined. There was a couple early on, but other than that, you know, I think now it's about breaking a couple of tackles. We had some single tackles that got us down on the ground. I think some of those guys would say, I got to get through those tackles, but it was improvement. You know, I'm not ready to say that we've, you know, arrived, but there were strides that were made tonight. And those are things that we're going to build off of. Thank you.
All right. Shout out to the fam. Thank y'all. LSU. Number 11, LSU battles out a 20-10 win over South Carolina. Man, we're going to get right into the broadcast here. And what's really interesting, you heard Coach Kelly talk about it, man. You know, watching the game, the defense is for real. No doubt about it. LSU's defense is for real. The issue with the Tigers are offensively just very inconsistent, man. They are battling out and winning these games. They improved to 5-1 on the season, which is positive. They're 2-1 in SEC play. Next up is Vanderbilt. But for tonight, LSU does enjoy a win, man. They are now after everything is played, they're now 5-1. Overall, they're 2-1 in conference play. LSU is now, I think they are now 6th in the SEC in terms of rankings. They're right above Tennessee as well. So this one was interesting for many different reasons. It started really slow, trying to get it going. And we're going to kind of recap this thing, man. I'm Big Q in this episode of Tuff Tiger Talk. To recap, do us a service and hit the like button. Give us a retweet if you're on X. Please give us a retweet. We up in this thing. And also feel free to share your comments about the game in the comment section below. And I know there's a lot of talk, a lot of really tough talk about LSU going on right now about how the offense is struggling. Nussmeier is not playing as well as he is. A lot of people anticipating he's a lot hurt than what Coach is alluding to. And I think what Coach Kelly is doing is he's attempting to, I ain't gonna say detract from what's going on with the team, but he's going to play to the high side and talk about a few things they have to work with. No, really, the defense is for real. The defense is phenomenal. They're getting all these turnovers. Love how the defense is playing. The special teams are even solid. The offense is terribly inconsistent, and that is Nussmeier's not playing to the level that a lot of people think he's capable of. The LSU offensive line is another issue and problem altogether. And I think the nucleus of the problem started there. That line is really creaky. And you can see Nussmeier making some plays, but his decision-making today was questionable. I mean, he's a college veteran. Some of the throws that he was making today was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And I was questioning, I was like, this guy, if we're going to take it to the next level, he has to play better than this. Now, they did pick up, like I said, the 5th win. We're 6 weeks in. Next week will be 7th week in, or 8 weeks in. Matter of fact, if you add the bye week, there's a lot of football that's happened for LSU. And really, the offense should have had some type of synchronicity by now. This is just, This is concerning, to say the least. So anyway, let's go through how the game kind of played and the scoring breakdown for LSU. They started off by getting the field goal to start off 3-0, 11:53 in the first quarter. Ramos hit a 28-yard field goal with 4 plays, 7 yards, 123. They were on the board. The South Carolina Gamecocks then came back into it with a 72-yard run by finished by William Joyce, but Matt Fuller, 72 yards on 3 plays for 80 yards, 126. They were on the board 7-3. LSU responded in the second quarter, 13:01 on the clock. Trey Green, 6-yard pass from Garrett Nussmeier with 6 plays, 72-yard drive, just over 2 minutes, made it 10-7 LSU. In the third quarter, South Carolina came back with a William Joyce 47-yard field goal, evened the game. They had a drive of 8 plays, 46 yards, 6:21 on the time of possession. LSU then had a touchdown in the middle of the third quarter, 6:38. Kyle Parker on that little slant route, 43-yarder from Garrett, made it 4 plays, 75 yards, just 2:01. LSU took the lead 17-10. Then the field goal from Mr. Ramos again from 22 yards out made it 20-10 on 10 plays, 64 yards, 356. But a lot of things were concerning going down the stretch based on the fact that on that goal line stance, LSU just could not get in the goal line. And that was something that we was like, what the hell is going on? Not only that, but the play calling. Why give it to Nussmeier if you know he got a gimpy ankle? Just a lot of questionable stuff that we have to really look at the offensive coordinator, Sloan, and really question what is he doing in his thought process. If you got other guys that can get the ball in on the goal line, why try to force it in with Nussmeier when he's dealing with ankle issues? Really questionable decision making there. But anyway, let's look at the team statistics here. 22 first downs by LSU versus 20 by the Gamecocks. You can see the third down possessions, 4 of 11 for LSU there. The total yards, 420 to 317. LSU weighed the passing game, 254 to 124. Defense was phenomenal. Got to give it to them on that. The LSU Tigers had 166 rushing yards off of 30 attempts. That's 5.5 per carry. The South Carolina Gamecocks had almost 200 yards rushing off of 45 carries, 4.3 yard average. LSU did keep the penalties down, 5 penalties for 54 yards. The Gamecocks had 13 for 65. LSU had 3 turnovers. The Gamecocks had 2. And you can see the time of possession right there. Gamecocks weighed 31.45 to 28.15. If you go individual, as we look at the individual statistics, Garrett Nussmeier finished the game 20 of 33 for 254. Averaged almost 8 yards per throw, had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Like I said, he started to look like he had I guess you could say a feel for the game ultimately, but then there's questionable throws, and it's like LSU had opportunities to break the game open, and the crowd was ready for them to break the game open, and then you get down there. He led a drive that got all the way to into the red zone, and then he threw an interception on the 1 yard line that literally just destroyed the drive, and it was just a bad call. Then his body language is the same. He just runs off the field, and and you can see Coach Kelly was pretty much fussing and bitching at Nussmeier for the remaining portions of the game about his decision making. And I don't know if the kid's hurt or not. I don't know what's going on because Kelly's not playing it straight. I feel he's talking about he put a GPS chip in the ball to make sure that his throwing. It's not necessarily his throwing. It's his decision making is a problem. Nussmeier's decision making is not getting bad. It's not getting better to me. The calls, the plays, the interceptions that he threw were ridiculous. The interception he threw, he totally overthrew the wide receiver. Totally overthrew him. Threw him, the man jumping up to try to reach it, just overthrew him. There was no pressure on him to make that throw. He stood, he was able to plant and throw, and he just totally overthrew him. We know mistakes happen, but it was just those decisions and throwing the ball, where to go with the ball. It just looked kind of raggedy with him. Now, he did get 254 tonight, but the 2 interceptions kind of steals a lot of the thunder. And like I was saying, the defense is really saving LSU's ass right now. They really are, and the special teams are really carrying the day. Now LSU's offense chips in a touchdown here or there, but as we get into stiffer competition, we got Vanderbilt coming up, and I think that's a winnable game for us. We got to go into to Vandy to beat them, and I think they lost today to Alabama. And really, if you look at Vanderbilt over the last several weeks, they won 5 games in a row. They lost for the first time today. The common denominators, like we beat the same team, like today we beat the Gamecocks. Well, they also beat the Gamecocks. And any other team outside of who they lost to today, Alabama, were cupcakes teams. So, Vanderbilt, we don't really know how good Vanderbilt is. You know what I'm saying? They're 5-1, but three of those games were cupcake teams. They weren't really, teams that you look at. Alabama was a tough team today, and they got shut out toward the second half. But this is the thing we got to deal with. Anyway, back to the stats. Caden Durham, he got going today. 15 carries, 70 yards, almost 5 yards an average. Juwan Johnson, 5 carries for 56 yards, 13.2 on his average. Nussmeier scrambled 4 times for 30, 7.5 on the scramble. And then they started force-feeding Trey Green because he was a mismatch. He had 8 catches for 119 yards, 15-yard average, and a touchdown. Kyle Parker, 5 for 75 with a score. Baron Brown, 2 for 22. Not much shaking on that. So Trey Green really kind of helped him out, kind of got some first downs, got in the red zone, this type of stuff. He got the only he was able to get one of the touchdowns. Kyle Parker on the slant got the other one. Trey with the goal line touchdown really helped out there. And A.J. Hawsey on the defensive side was the top tackler. He had 11. Wes Weeks had 9, 8 from Harold Perkins Jr. and a sack. Harold Perkins was able to get a sack. So did Whit Weeks, who had 7. So did DJ Pickett, who had 6 tackles, a sack. He also had a pick, interception as well. So we had not him. He got a sack. The Tamarcus Cooley got the pick, is what I mean by that. And it was just a fantastic game. Mr. Ramos, Damian, had 2 for 2, kicking a field goal. And in the end, LSU was able to struggle win and get a nasty win, tough win from South Carolina. Lenoris Sellers was a difficult guy to bring down. He ain't lying. You've seen guys trying to wrangle him and bring him down all night, man. And sheesh, man. Jack Pyburn, man, he could have had 2 sacks tonight. Instead of a sack and a half, he just couldn't pull Lenoris Sellers down. I mean, Pyburn got to him a couple of times, couldn't wrestle him to the ground. He kind of was shaking his head like, what's going on? Couldn't get him to the ground. So dude's tough. But he finished 15 of 27 for 124. He had an interception. So the defense kept Sellers quiet, and not too much on the running attack, but they did more than enough to be able to come out with the win. And it's just simply what it is, man. When you talk about what LSU has to do and how they need to improve, but listen, my thought process is this, and we can hear what Coach Kelly is saying. Coach Kelly is saying that, hey, man, we got the win. We're 5-1. The goal is to win. It don't matter if he looks pretty or not. We got the win. That's what it's all about. It's about getting the win. It's pretty. He's right. We got the win. But the reality is going into to this next game, a lot of weeks have passed for LSU to still be dealing with the type of issues that they're dealing with. We're talking about the inconsistency running the football. We're talking about the inconsistencies in protection of the quarterback. We're talking about the bad decision-making that Nussmeier's making. Every game outside of the cupcake games, when they face stiffer opponents, the errors show brighter and grander. And as they continue to go further into the SEC schedule, more of those errors will show brighter. They can't get away with a lot of this stuff that they're getting with, offensively speaking. Defense really shut South Carolina down from scoring touchdowns, but they have a lot to improve here. Like I said, I'm happy to be 5-1. But at the same time, you get the win. There are going to be some ugly wins, but it's a little too much of ugly winning going on for LSU. And it's not the fact that he's talking about effort and all this kind of stuff. The LSU offensive line is just not a strength. They're not a strength. I know they got guys banged up here, and that's really not good. And then, of course, Nussmeier looks very unshaky and unstable behind that offensive line. They're not running the ball effectively like we need to keep the pressure off of him. So it's a lot of stuff going on with LSU right now. But they continue to win, man, and that's the promising thing. Anyway, let's kind of move into it, man. The upcoming matchup they have focus on. They got the Vanderbilt team, like we just talked about. Vanderbilt is probably going to end up dropping in rank. We'll see. But currently, right now, they're at 20th. Before the polls come out tomorrow, we'll know exactly where LSU do. They go back up into the top 10. There was a lot of top 10 teams that won today. We'll see. But anyway, Vanderbilt loses to Alabama. They lost to Alabama today, and they drops to 5-1 and 1-1 in SEC play. We'll have an opportunity to take this team on. You can see, and we'll preview this matchup with Pavia with 14 touchdowns and 4 picks for him on 1,400 yards. So he really can move it. Pavia can really move the ball through the air and running it. He's pretty much that's his game. Kind of a throwing, scrambling threat that he is for Vanderbilt. He's had a lot of success with them this year and helping them to be a 5-1 team. And also they've had a favorable schedule. You can see Stowers is their top receiving threat, the tight end with 323 receiving yards, and Mr. Capers, the edge rusher, with 4.5 sacks. So they are a very formidable team in terms of, player personnel. But this is a game, and though we're going to Nashville to take them on at First Bank Stadium, this is a game that, by all indications, LSU should win. They should win this game. Like I said, the Vanderbilt team I don't think they've really been tested. Like they did beat South Carolina. Virginia Tech is a mess. They did beat South Carolina early on, but we beat South Carolina too. Then they had Georgia State, and just, Alabama was the toughest team they played this week, and they lose 30-14. So they'll be looking to do better and get back on the winning side and try to win against LSU. LSU will not have the confines of being in Death Valley. They're going to have to go on the road in a tough place out there in Nashville, Tennessee, and be able to take care of business against a scrambling quarterback who, our defense needs to shut down. But also, Garrett Nussmeier has to get going. The offense for LSU has to get going. They have to find some type of chemistry, some synergy. They're going to have to find somebody to play through offensively speaking, whether it's Trey Green, whether it's whomever it is, Anderson, whoever it is. They're going to have to figure a way who to play through, and they're going to have to find a way to be able to run the football. They're going to have to do that. They're going to have to lock in on that, because if they don't, this could be a loss, and we really don't need to take any more losses if they're looking to have a deep college football playoff run, so to speak. Then losing to Vanderbilt is not on the horizon. We have to be able to take care of business against Vandy. And we're going to have Coach Kelly all throughout the week talk about how the team needs to improve. And from week to week to week, we see, like this game here in Death Valley, really shaky decision-making, offensively speaking, questionable in terms of pushing the ball in, couldn't get the ball in on the goal line, questionable play calling. And when you're in somebody else's arena, that's going to be heightened because all of the crowd noise and how it's just not a good recipe. So I think you can see this year, boy, I could tell you, this year watching Brian Kelly at the press conferences, after every press conference and, the game, this year he really feeling the pressure of the Tiger Nation. He really is. He knows that this is his year in which he's supposed to be stepping up, and this is his goddamn team. This is his recruits. This is the team he decided to build, and this was supposed to be the team that compete for a national championship. I'm not saying that they're not, but you can tell that the pressure is really coming down on top of him. It really is, and you can see it all in his face and his demeanor as he tries to kind of navigate these post-press conferences about how the team is looking offensively speaking, and try to kind of move the conversation to effort and the defense and ugly winning and all this kind of stuff. He knows damn well that the offense is a problem, but he's trying to steer away from that conversation. Have that, he don't want to talk about that. But sooner or later, those things, because they're not really fixing this stuff. Like you go in from game to game to game and they're winning, but sooner or later, you're going to meet opponents, plural, who are going to stop you. And you're going to have to consistently learn how to move from an offense standpoint. There is no deep playoff, college football playoff, anything if you can't consistently put touchdowns on the board. You can't settle for field goals. You got to be able to punch it in on short and third and short, or even a goal line situation. We haven't seen that from this team consistently, not enough at all. So we'll see how it all goes moving forward, family. It's going to be an interesting development for LSU going into next week. And like I said, they'll face off against the Commodores coming up, and we'll kind of go into more of a deep breakdown on this game as we go forward. But, man, y'all put y'all comments in the section below and let me know how you feel today about LSU. I won't hold you long, man. I'm going to cut you loose on that one. But listen, LSU improves. Like I said, they improved to 5-1. That's the good news. It's an ugly win indeed. They improved to 5-1. They didn't lose the game. They are winning the games. Now listen, I've often been a person that says on Tuff Tiger Talk, I would like to see them blow out teams and, rank teams, good teams, or SEC opponents and blow them out. They won by 10. The offense was inconsistent in this one. A lot of mistakes, drop balls, bad decision-making by the quarterback. But nonetheless, they win 5-1, and they are 2-1. So there's some time to see if they can turn this stuff around. The next opponent is Vanderbilt. They are fifth in the SEC currently. And we'll see tomorrow, man, whether or not they jump up into the top 10. But they have a lot to work on offensively. But I'm really impressed with that defense, to be honest with you. I'm impressed with the defense. Special teams is solid. We just need Nussmeier and that goddamn offensive line to get it together. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to chime out on that. I appreciate y'all. Y'all do me a service at Tuff Tiger Talk. Hit the like button. If you're listening on X, give me a retweet, man, on this thing, man. LSU gets the victory, man. And we'll see you later on in the week. Much love, and go Tigers.